No, I'm not really saying.
Are you going to boil your dinner?
Oh, damn it.
Morena.
Jeffrey. Get on this one.
Submitter can sit next to you. That way they can
Jesus.
you sit here. That way they can she can face that.
Can you mute them from here?
Yeah.
Where's the power?
Right.
Righto, thank you, everybody. We will go live. I've welcomed those online. Please, I'll ask you to stand for the council reading of the council prayer. Almighty God, as members of the Rangitikei District Council, we give thanks for all the good things of our district and the advantages we enjoy. We pray that you will give us wisdom and guidance as we conduct the affairs of this meeting. We pray for all the communities and district we represent. Help us to be fair and honest in our discussions and help us to work together in unity for the welfare of all your people. Amen. Thank you, everybody. Welcome to today's council meeting, Thursday, 15th of May, and dealing with oral submissions annual plan. I have apologies from Councillor Loudon, Councillor Duncan, Councillor Dalgetty. Would somebody like to so move? They be, thank you, Councillor Carter, Councillor Sharlin, seconding. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. We have on Zoom, and can I just check, please, Tai Happy, are you able to hear us well? Thank you. Could somebody say something so that we
On mute.
Yeah.
Yeah, with mute.
Yeah. And we have Councillor Rakawa also. Coral, can you hear us all right?
Right.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your attendance. And we will have one submitter from Tai Happy. Has Charlotte arrived?
You might need to unmute them.
Thank you. In terms of confirmation, sorry, go back. Conflict of interest declarations, are there any to be recorded?
None that was saw.
No. Thank you very much. Confirmation of order of business is as listed. The next one, in terms of 8.1, hearing of submissions to the annual plan. Would somebody like to move, please, the recommendation that the hearing of submissions on the annual plan be received? Thank you. Councillor Lambert, Councillor Maughan, seconding. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Thank you very much. In terms of those submissions, for the submitters, I'll just go back over the rules of engagement, if you like. You have 10 minutes. How you use that 10 minutes is your time, but it includes question time. If you wish to speak for 10 minutes, that doesn't give you the opportunity to open the floor up for questions. You don't have the ability to question councillors. Councillors have the ability to ask questions of you. Thank you very much. I'll move to the first submission that we have, and that is from Forrest and Bird. Kate and Michael, if you'd like to go to the far end of the table. I'm sorry for those online. I'm not sure that camera will pick you up.
She's swapping it. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Get right.
Thank you.
You sit or stand.
Up to you. You're fine sitting. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Michael, for attending. You're aware of the rules around this. The time is yours. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to our submission. I'm Kate Williams, Chair of Rangitikei Branch of Forest and Bird. Michael Voss is our Reserves Coordinator. We'd like to give you a brief overall picture of what we do here in the Rangitikei so that you will understand why our submission is so important to us. Rangitikei Branch of Forest and Bird was formed 63 years ago. We have about 30 active members, mostly from marten and bulls, with about half of them volunteering in the reserves. From April to September, we hold a monthly meeting with a speaker, and for the other 6 months, we visit other areas of interest. Rangitikei has the most native forest reserves of any society branch, and these cover just over 100 hectares. We aim to have a working bee at one of them each day, one day each month. So our small group of volunteers clock up a lot of voluntary hours each year. The reserves are spread out in the Turakina Valley area, with Price's Rahui out on its own, close to the Rangitikei River at Portorino. You can see there on the screen. When you go up Turakina Valley Road, the first one that you come to is McPherson's, then Periri. There's 2 little marks there at Periri because years ago the road was diverted, and so we've got the main Periri Reserve and then a little pocket across the road, which we now call Titoki. Further along Mangahoe is a road, is Sutherland's Mangahoe, and then further on still is Laird's Reserve. Way round there and down to your right, out at Portorino by the Rangitikei River, is Price's Rahui. Okay. Now, in 2 of our reserves, McPherson's and Price's, we've got those Good Nature A24 traps, which automatically do their job, as you can see by the rats there. Right. But every so often they need to be monitored, and the consumables don't last all that long. So we get funding from Dudding Trust and the Rangitikei Community Initiatives Fund for consumables to keep those going. Now, the young chap on the right there is a teenager who is doing his Duke of Edinburgh Awards, and periodically he is doing the monitoring of the A24 traps and Price's Reserve. Now, there's an overall picture of Price's Rahui, and there we have picnic tables and a toilet from grants that we have received from Dudding Trust. And as you can see, quite a few people often go there for their picnics. Now, Laird's Reserve up in Mangahoe, that reserve is the smallest of them all, being 7 hectares, and it is in a little gully. Now, in 1898, there was a huge bushfire, and it went right round that, but because that was in a gully, the fire went round it over the top of it. So that is still a pocket of virgin forest. To get to that, you have to walk up the hill through Daniel Webb's property, but we have permission to do that. Right, Sutherland's. What's happened to that one?
Sorry, one of the pictures has gone. Mangahoe.
Right. In Sutherland's Mangahoe, the map has just gone. In was actually December 2021. Those of you who live at Hunterville will remember the cloudburst that brought a tremendous amount of water down the Mangahoe stream and removed or swept away the little old bridge that was there. And so 2 years later, we have now got a new bridge, but was opened just on a year ago. And as you can see, our mayor was there to kindly open that. Oh, there we go. There's the Sutherland's Mangahoe with the track on it.
Yeah.
Now that one is Sutherland's Prairie, which is just sort of at the junction of Mangahoe Road and Turikina Valley Road. And to your left, I'm sorry, to your right of that, you can see the little pocket, which is Sutherland's Te Toki. That reserve is about 60 hectares. Here's a band of a few of our volunteers, and the picture on the right shows the and an explanation of the Maori food storage pits, which are there. Right, McPherson's down by the river. There again, we've got picnic tables, toilet, from a Building Trust grant. The bottom in the middle is, sorry, this is McPherson's, isn't it? Yeah. The bottom middle is a Ruru, which we saw yesterday or the day before when we were in there. That seems to be only one there, and it seems to find us when we were there and supervise what we're doing. In the middle is an area that we have pulled Transdecantia out of, and on the right is we have Transdecantia beetles have been released there, and they nibble away at the leaves, so you can see what they're doing. We have a bridge across the stream which goes through the middle of McPherson's, and we have put tree labels in on particular trees so that there's information there for that. Right, now this is where the contention is, the parking at McPherson's. On the offside, there is a drain along there so that we cannot park completely off the road. And this is what we're asking the council to consider, is to the fence will need to be moved in towards the reserve a bit, and a safe car park is what we're requiring.
Just be aware that you've only got a couple of minutes left. Please.
Our reserves have been Rangitiki's best kept secret, but we're working hard to change that. We have a Facebook page, write regular articles for the District Monitor, and have pamphlets in strategic places. All the other reserves have safe off-road parking for visitors, but not at McPherson's. There's also a drain on the side of the road to negotiate. We plan to increase signage and put in a gate for easy access once we have a safe parking area. At present, we are reluctant to promote the significance of McPherson's Reserve, as parking is a safety issue. We urge you to seriously consider our submission. Now, have you any questions for us?
A question from me. Thank you very much. I know that you've had discussions with our roading people. Is there any scale of cost that you're aware of?
Possibly 46,000 was suggested from your road people.
Thank you. I'll open it up. Councillor.
Thank you, Your Worship. Okay, the 46,000, which I see you've got there, when was that indicated, and in what form was that indicated to you as a price point?
That was indicated earlier this year.
Yeah. Just as a general on-site conversation with one of the
We're
staff?
following an on-site conversation, yes.
Nothing more formal than that?
And an email, we received an email.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Councillor Moore.
Just a quick one. How many cars would you expect to be parking here? regularly on a daily basis or on a weekend, say?
Well, weekend would be unknown. I don't know how many visitors we have. When we have a working bee, there could be 6 or 8 cars.
Thank you.
Final question, councillor Carter.
Have you considered, instead of having a 40-metre long sealed car park in the side of the road, is what you're requesting, just having a crossing to go into the reserve and having a car park in the reserve area, which would lower your costs considerably?
Well, we haven't actually considered that, but there's a lot of trees, big trees in there.
Find an area there's no big trees.
Okay, we are out of time. Michael, Kate, thank you very much. I try and walk the reserves reasonably frequently. We absolutely, there is a stunning taonga for our district. Thank you for your time. It may be useful to let us know when working bees are on, in case there are councillors or myself that would want to support you. Thank you.
Thank you.
The second submission that we have is from Sally Patrick and the interested residents of Martin. Sally, thank you. I saw you just sneak in. Sally, in terms of before the clock isn't ticking just yet, but you have, when we start, 10 minutes. How you wish to use that time is yours. But please be aware that if you want councillors to ask questions of you, you need to allow for that.
Ngā mihi, Andy. Kia ora.
Thank you. The time is yours.
Kia ora koutou, and thank you for the opportunity to present our submission today. As entered, I'm Sally Patrick, and I'm speaking on behalf of Airama, a group of Rangitikei residents who hold a strong affinity and commitment to the land, awa and people of Rangitikei. And as we've already been made aware, you will have read the submission and by way of introduction be fully conversant with Airama objectives. I wish to take this opportunity to acknowledge mana whenua representatives who are present today. For the purpose of providing an overarching view of our submission and not delving into the detail too much, the crux of it lies in the ever important dialogue between the communities of Rangitikei and Rangitikei District Council and the dissemination of information. In this case, we're talking specifically to the dialogue and information that comes through key strategic portals such as the long-term plan, the LTP, and its subsequent annual plans. This is something we acknowledge that local government grapples currently with more complexity, with neighbourly collaboration, with constantly shifting legislative frameworks requiring new policy and new financial expectations. And we can't forget that roles of responsibility are often divested from central government. So the degree to which the conversation flow between council and its community, the degree to which how we communicate, the degree to which we communicate and what we communicate becomes much more valuable and more significant. We acknowledge too that a small rural authority is bound by the same expectations legislatively, financially and operationally as the larger metropolitan one. And we'd also like to note that externally, as things become more destabilised at a global level, with flow-on effect, at a national level with flow-on effect, having certainty and trust at a local level, as I'm sure you're aware, is certainty, level, trust is imperative for our communities, for all of us. You all deal with this massive information in these changes on a daily basis with an information overload coming at you in all directions, and we give credit to you for the way that this is navigated. In order for us as members of the community to understand the important aspects of that massive information, we need to know that the long-term plan demonstrates clearly and transparently what the council is aiming to set in place for the next 3 years, with detailed cost projections and, most importantly, no surprises. Prices come with the variations. We want to understand the links between these specific proposed projects and achieving the collective vision for our district. We need to understand those links and what the long-term benefits are for the next generation and those beyond. We want the LTP, the long-term plan framework with the 3-year work plan, those stakes in the ground that you do once every 3 years, to stand firm through the subsequent LTPs. And this is a key point because that demonstrates the consistency and continuity that we see paramount. It's frequently done in year 2. We've seen it with Horizons. We see it so often in year 2 and year 3 of both the framework of work plans and the documentation, that the community loses the monitoring role it has that it started up with year 1 with the long-term plan. And we get distracted by questions we're asked in year 2 and year 3 in the documentation. Can you comment on this? Can you comment on this? When what we really need to be doing mostly is looking at what was planned, what was adopted in year 1 and how that's going. We do need to see, because you're probably all thinking now, variations, what's happening with the variations in year 2 and year 3. We do need to see the significant variations and understand the details of those, but too many variations, however, beg the question of whether the original LTP had sufficient strategic heft to carry it through the 3 years. I'm saying that's a question. We need to understand where the blocks of our ratepayer money goes on an annual basis. And once again, it was great to see these blocks demonstrated visually, clearly in the first pages of this year's annual plan. We need to be assured that Rangitikei District Council on our behalf has scoped its work plans effectively and planned operational risk mitigation in its project plans so that funding rollovers are kept at a minimum. This gives us the assurance to know 2 things, probably more, that the internal mechanisms of council are staffed to the appropriate level and fueled to the required capacity, that we're paying our staff well, and that the teams undertaking the work are both focused and confident the year's work plan will be completed. That way, just from a customer point of view or a community point of view, we know the rates we're contributing collectively on an annual basis to fund a proposed and designated work plan go direct to that purpose, and that we won't be funding the expected increase in costs for the project if it's rolled over year on year. The detail of our submission acknowledges the communication wins, which we appreciate and support. Seeing more of these, and for this we congratulate you around the table and also the full District Council team. And these, I'm just, because I got up and smiled at you, I now have to find the next.
Sally, you've got a couple of minutes left.
We'd also like to say that we, and you'll see it under general comments in the submission, we've identified where we see the process and information flow not working, and where items of note have been omitted or not explained in detail. these are specifically identified under general comments in the submission. I think I've kept it at, you wanted, I know in the notes that we were sent regarding submitting, we were said not to delve too much in the detail because you've read that. So we've intended in this presentation to keep it at a high level to explain the background in terms of high need from the community in pretty chaotic times at the moment, more detail, no emissions, and stick. It's really important that year 2 and year 3 of the LTP and the annual plan framework and production, that there is a very strong, those stakes in the ground are still exceedingly visible in the documentation, and we can determine and monitor how things are going because of the information you've provided.
Sally, you've got only a minute left.
Hmm?
You've only got a minute left if you want to open it up.
That's it. Ngā mihi nui, thank you very much for your giving us the time and for your time and attention today.
Thank you. A question from me, and then I have got Coral. Sally, in terms of communication, we have opened up our workshops to public participation, scrutiny. We live stream wherever we can. We use social media wherever we can. Is there one thing in your mind that we could do better in terms of communication with the community? If you say that is the gap,
I think
what could we do better?
Andy, I would, that it would be useful to see a plan of communication developed with the LTP and in years 2 and 3 to understand throughout the year what is available, because understandably many people at the moment time is of essence, and it's important to have very key information produced digitally, obviously, on the council website. But I think we would need to see a more detailed communication plan, and that is explained to the community at length. Public meetings are great.
Okay, thank you. I'll take one question only in terms of time. Councillor Rakawa online. Councillor.
Can you hear me?
Yes, and it needs to be fairly brief, Coral.
Yeah, thank you. Kia ora, Sally. Thank you for your mahi. Thank you for your presentation. Mine follows on basically from the Mayor. Have you seen an example that you, from other councils or wherever, that you would prefer or like? Well, I think it's along the lines of, but if you have seen something in regards to us.
Thank you, Coral. In terms of the documentation, are you talking about information dissemination generally?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I hesitate to say it because it's my old stomping ground. But Honganui this year was pretty good. And people around the table, I'm thinking Honganui as well. In terms of the types of engagement with community, and I think it would be really useful to maybe workshop that and with members of the community present. Kia ora.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sally. Thank you on behalf of the interested residents of Martin. And we now move to our final submitter. Charlotte, can you hear us? And can you come in front of the screen, please?
I'll see. Either or, this is right. Yes, Jeff.
Especially for you.
Hi, I'm Charlotte. I'm here on behalf of the Taihape Playground Group.
Just before you start, Charlotte, you have, in terms of the rules, you have 10 minutes. How you use that time.
It won't take that long.
Okay, whenever you're ready to start.
Okay. What I have come to ask for is so the Taihape Playground Group has been going, I had a look back, our first meeting was the 23rd of September 2020. So we have been going nearly 5 years. We have got to the point now where we have nearly finalised our plans. So we've got pretty much everything in place. We're just going to tweak a couple of things. We have had a quote for that plan come back at about 800,000, which is less than what we were thinking. So next processes for us now are mostly just getting that funding going. And that's what I've come to ask you guys for. We have in our area, there's a barbecue shelter. So there's a double cooker there, I think, and then a couple of picnic tables to just sit, whether you sit and have a birthday party or sitting and watching what's going on the field, or sitting and watching your kids play while you've got a sheltered area there. And the costings for that has come back at about 62,000. I put it in the submission. And we would like to ask if council might like to fund that for us. And that's about all I've come to ask for. Have you got any questions for me?
Yes, I'll open it up so I'm not just dictating first. Councillor Wilson. please.
Hi Charlotte, Dave Wilson speaking. Charlotte, just wondering, have you reached out to any other funding agencies at this stage? I know the group's been around for 3 or 4 or 5 years, and I think we've seen submissions from you before. What other funding have you managed to put together, or is it subject to this latest report that you've just got?
So what we've struggled with is going for funding. They really needed a plan. So we've only just got our the playground plans back. So that's definitely the next phase is to start ticking off funding. We've definitely got a few that we are going to go for. The annual plan came up, so I've just quickly put in a submission for this. You guys have given us 50,000, and that must have been in the annual plan about maybe 2021-ish. So thank you very much for that. So I know that that's in the pipeline. Yeah, this is, just asking again.
So this, just to be clear, this is additional and over and above that you've already received, is that right?
If possible, that would be lovely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Further questions, councillors?
Tracy's got one.
Piki Te Ora.
Charlotte, and good to see you. And yes, you have been in front of us more than once.
Sorry.
And I just want to acknowledge, firstly, the time that it takes. It's quite funny. Well, just the time that it takes to get things done.
Yes.
So we're now at the stage of you having the plan put together, which is great because that's the move. Can I ask whether or not that money that was initially put forward for the playground has been expended on this?
There's been nothing. So we haven't even received that funds yet.
Okay.
From the council. That we'll put that to use further down the track. We haven't actually spent any money yet.
Oh, right.
Nothing.
To get this done.
So this is part of their whole process. Yeah, so this is included in that 800,000. They do it as a one package deal. Yeah.
All right. And so the money that you are the extra funding that you're seeking is for an additional thing to go onto this.
So it's part of that 800. This is just a little area in the plan, which is a barbecue area, which really isn't playground.
Okay.
Which we thought that would be a really good community asset. I have heard that potentially there might be a barbecue area going at the Outback. Is that correct? Oh, okay, maybe, no, I've obviously heard that wrong. So yeah, if there was a facility like this in the community, I'm sure it would be really well used. I know that we'll ask for a facility like that to go at the I can't remember the name of it, the hall over there.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's no real facility to do fundraising or sausage sizzles or anything like that. So yeah, having it over at our area would be a great asset, I feel.
A question from councillor Rakawa, a question from councillor Maughan, and then myself. Councillor Rakawa.
Kia ora, thank you for submission. My question is that going ahead, how long do you see this play centre up and running for? Have you thought very far into the future? Have you thought about the demographics, the children, is the population growing? Have you done your that sort of, have you taken that into account when putting this together? Sorry, I forgot the name.
So this is a playground. So,
Right.
And it's a facility for the whole community. There will always be children in the community, and yeah, it'll be used for years to come.
It will
And
be
we've
used.
tried to make it multi-generational, so we've got an area for younger children, and then it will be fenced off, and also an area for older children. So
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Maughan.
My question is $800,000. How is your fundraising going towards that?
so
How do you-
to
They
date,
asking for 60,000 or so, but 800,000's
It's different.
oh, wow.
different.
Yeah, so to date, we've raised 60,000, and that has just been from raffles and little fundraisers. We had a stock drive. We definitely still have money coming in. The rugby club did a fundraiser for us that hasn't gone in. That might be another $10,000 to $15,000. But yeah, it'll be the grants that really top us up, and that's going to be the constricting factor when we actually, yeah, before we can actually go forward, we need to tick off that funding. So that's the real hold up now.
Thank you. Councillor Wong, I'll put you ahead of me. Councillor.
I was just going to ask about the funding as well, but Councillor Maughan has stolen my lunch.
Thank you. Charlotte, I know that you work with charity, you work with charity as a person, you and others. Would it be useful for staff and councillors to meet with your group to fully understand this process?
Yes, we have met with, what was her name? Pio, a little while ago, and she was going to be our connection to the council. So, yeah, I think we're good at the moment, but we definitely should meet with the Parks and Reserves team to make sure they're happy with the plans. I think we'll tweak our plan to make sure it's exactly what we want, and then yes, we'll definitely move forward with council.
Councillor Lambert.
Hi Charlotte, just quickly, like the 67,000, was that part of that quote, was that part of the whole 800,000 package, or was this costed separately? And so this would include...
This is included in.
Okay, so it could be done, if you got someone to do an individual quote, it could be done a bit cheaper?
Potentially, we have had, so once we got that quote from the playground, we have had additional quotes from some, like Hautapu Pine, to do our fencing. So that cost could drop back a little bit, and we will try and cut back as much as we can. Like with the gardens, we might get the garden club to help us out rather than going through the playground company, because they tend to add on little snippets of but yeah, so we are hoping to bring that back a little bit, or with inflation, definitely not go any more than that. But yeah, that barbecue area is included into that 800,000.
Thank you. Councillor Hero, a final question, please.
Charlotte, is there any other playgrounds that are used by the public of this town in Taihape?
No.
Thank you.
Charlotte, thank you very much for your time. We admire the tenacity and we accept the frustrations that you've had in terms of having to delay to work in with the whole park playground relook. So thank you very much, and we'll come back to you if we need further information.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
To staff, is there anything else that I need to do before I close off this meeting? Councillors, thank you very much. That brings us to the end of today's submissions, and consideration will be given to them as part of the adoption of the plan. Thank you very much. Close the meeting.